Back with another review for the Keanu-thon, and today I'll be talking about and reviewing the 2000 comedy, The Replacements, which stars Keanu Reeves. You also have Gene Hackman in the film, and directed by Howard Deutch. Now, this guy has directed before in the past. He directed films such as Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, The Great Outdoors with John Candy, Getting Even with Dad with Macaulay Culkin. So, he's directed a couple of good films, comedies, and like I said, directed this film, and I enjoyed this film. It's a really fun comedy, sports comedy, and when you look back at Keanu's career, he's only done like a handful of comedies. I mean, going back to The Night Before, which is a fun, hidden, film from the 80s. He did that before Bill and Ted. And of course, you have to mention the Bill and Ted films. Both are classics. Philly, Minnesota. It's a dark comedy, but I like the film. I might be the only person that likes the film, but I do like the film. Of course, he's doing Bill and Ted 3. That's coming out. Something's got to give. That's a romance comedy, but again, he's only done, a handful of comedies, not too many. And I think this is one of his best ones. I mean, the story here, you have this football team, the Washington Sentinels, and they're going on strike. So they bring back this old coach, played by Gene Hackman, to recruit some replacement players for the last few games. And that's when he tracks down Keanu's character, this washed-up quarterback, Shane Falco, to lead this team of misfit players. So you have Keanu's character as his quarterback and the misfit players. Like, for example, some of the players on the team, you have Orlando Jones, this guy you've seen before. He was in Bedazzled, which came out the same year, Evolution. And he's this loudmouth receiver. You have John Favreau in the film. Yeah, from Iron Man. He's this linebacker, kind of a high energy guy, always tackling people. You have Rhys Ifans, the guy that played Dr. Connors in The Amazing Spider-Man. He's in this film as the kicker. He's a Welsh guy, and he's always smoking. You have Faizon Love in the film, Big Worm from Friday. He's on the team. So you have these different players with different personalities, and they're, having fun. And so, like I said, Keanu is the quarterback, and they have to play the last few games as these, replacement players. And that's, and then also, he develops a relationship with this girl, one of the cheerleaders of, this character right here, Annabelle, played by Brooke Langton. So you got their relationship in the film, but that's pretty much the story, the plot. But, like I said, I enjoyed The Replacements. And, look at the cast, Keanu, I think he's having fun here. He's having fun playing this quarterback, and he does a good job. And as far as, like, the players, I mean, it's fun because the players, they're all different. Each of them has a personality. I mean, Orlando Jones, he's a loudmouth. And you got the scene where, and just a lot of fun scenes in this film that, cracks me up. And you also have this deaf player on the team. And so there's this one scene where they're at a bar, and the other team, well, not the other team, but, the players that are on strike, the quarterback is Brett Cullen. And you have this one scene where they're at the bar making fun of the deaf guy, the deaf player, and Keanu stands up for him, and they get into a fight. And that's where you get the jail scene where they're all in jail, Keanu and the other players. And, Orlando Jones is like, yeah, we kicked their ass, right? And they're like, you were hiding behind a jukebox. And that's when Orlando Jones, starts singing, I Will Survive. Really fun scene. And cracks me up. And again, you have John Favreau in the film. He's fun. You have this one sumo wrestler type player in the film. And Rhys Ifans, again, he's this kicker that smokes a lot. And so I really enjoy how all the players, again, are different, and they have a really good banter between each other. A fun camaraderie. And it just, some of the scenes make you crack up in the film. Like, when they first arrive at the stadium on the bus, the team that is on strike, they're egging the bus, and one of the characters on the bus is about to pull out a gun. Or you got scenes where they flip over Keanu's car, calling him Scab. And one of the players sticks up for Keanu, and he starts shooting Brett Cullen's car. He's like, I'm a son of a bitch, huh? I'm a son of a bitch. Pop, pop, pop. I really enjoy that. And then, like, I mentioned Jon Favreau. His character would sometimes tackle Keanu Reeves. And Keanu's like, you see me? I'm wearing red. Red means stop. Or Keanu would get knocked out. Like, for instance, that scene where he gets knocked out and Orlando Jones is like, I think your partner knocked you out. So, I mean, again, you got fun shenanigans like that throughout the film. And I like the relationship between him and this girl, this cheerleader, Annabelle. I thought she was a good actress. And you do have some appearances in the film. I mean, you have Art LaFleur, the guy from Cobra. He's in the film as part of the staff. You have John Madden and Pat Summerall as the commentators of the football games. So they appear in the film. And then you have a little fun scene where, Keanu is making out with the girl at this bar, and like before he makes out, you hear like commentary from John Madden. Falco's going for it. So again, just fun stuff like that. Good soundtrack. I like some of the songs up here. That's a really good soundtrack. Screenplay, I mean, I thought it was a good story, a simple plot. Guy who wrote the screenplay was Vince McEwen. And I think he wrote the screenplay for Fly Away Home. I was looking him up. Like, he's only done like one or two films, and that's pretty much it. But again, it was a fun story, fun plot. And, it's just some fun scenes throughout and fun stuff between the players. And, as far as like the DVD, there's features on the back here. To mention that, you do have 2 behind-the-scenes documentaries, a look at the replacements, making the plays. You do have an audio commentary by director Howard Deutch, which I haven't heard, but so you do have a commentary up here. And I know when it came out to like mixed reception. I think Roger Ebert gave it 2 out of 4. But I mean, when you look at that year of comedies, 2000, I mean, you had some good comedies that came out that year, like Meet the Parents and Me, Myself, and Irene. I like Ready to Rumble. I do like that movie. That came out that year. Fun little movie, but yeah, so I mean, all in all, The Replacements, if you haven't seen, definitely check it out. I mean, it's a really fun sports comedy, and I think it's, again, one of Keanu's best comedies. And I really enjoy the characters. And Gene Hackman's great. And I forgot about the scene where, he's talking to the team about fear, and the players start talking about, I'm afraid of spiders, coach. I'm afraid of spiders and all this stuff. And you got one scene where the coach puts glue on Orlando Jones's hands, and he's like, I don't know about this. It looks like I jacked off an elephant. So they can go out there and catch a ball. And I just remember some of these scenes. But, you got stuff with the sumo wrestler player, and, they're making fun of him, and back and forth with the other players. And I just remember the one scene where Orlando Jones is talking to this other guy that was in jail, and he's like, I hate cops. And then Jon Favreau's sitting right there, and he used to be a cop, and he's like, I'm a cop. And I just love Orlando Jones's reaction in the film. He has some funny reactions. But, yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, with the Replacements, Yeah, really good comedy. So definitely check this out if you haven't seen. Give it a watch. It's worth your time. With Keanu Reeves is good. Gene Hackman in good direction from Howard Deutch. Again, same guy that directed The Great Outdoors, one of my favorite John Candy movies. So The Replacements is really good. So that's my review of The Replacements. And next up, I'll be talking about and reviewing The Watcher. So stay tuned for that and have a good one.